Welcome to the Ant-Man channel on this Wednesday, the 23rd of January 2013. I got an article in front of me under WorldNet Daily Education by Jerome R. Corsi. Jerome R. Corsi, a Harvard PhD, is a WND senior staff reporter. He has authored many books, including #1 New York Times bestsellers, The Abomination and Unfit for Command. Corsi's latest book is Where's the Real Birth Certificate? I know WND had at their superstore had like a sale the other day. Everything Obama's half off. I mean that would have been a great opportunity for anyone out there that's hungering for a little bit more truth. You know, let me get into this article here. New York. If lawmakers and authorities let me read the title. I'm getting ahead of myself. WND exclusive. Top psychiatrist. Meds behind school massacres. Society conducting vast social experiment without knowing its end. So this comes from New York. If lawmakers and authorities are truly concerned about stopping gun violence in schools, they need to take a close look at the prescription of psychotropic drugs for children and young people, says a leading psychiatrist. This isn't a mystery either, you guys. I'm not going to rant. I'm just going to read because I know I can go on about this because I am in the field I am in the EMS field, if you will. I am a EMT, and I have worked alongside many EMS professionals. In an exclusive in-person interview in New York City with WND, London-based Dr. David Healy criticized pharmaceutical companies that have made billions of dollars marketing selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, known as SSRIs. Psychotropic drugs prescribed for school children cause violent behavior, Healy stated. The drugs are widely used in the U.S. as antidepressants by doctors working in the mental health field and increasingly by primary care doctors, he noted. Healy insisted the problem today is that doctors working with schools to control the behavior of children are inclined to prescribe SSRI drugs without serious consideration of adverse consequences. The pharmaceutical companies made these drugs with the idea of making money, he said. No, duh. There is a wide range of problems when it comes to looking at these drugs for children. Very few children have serious problems that warrant treatment with pills that have the risks of SSRI drugs. Let me read that. Very few children have serious problems with warrant treatment with pills that have the risks SSRI drugs have. The drugs can make children aggressive and hostile, he noted. Children taking SSRI drugs are more likely to harm or to injure other children at school, said Healy. The child may be made suicidal. We are giving drugs to children who are passing through critical development stages, and as a society we are really conducting a vast experiment and no one really knows what the outcome of it will be. Healy cautioned that there is a very high correlation between mass shootings and use of the drugs. When roughly 9 out of every 10 cases in these school shootings and mass shootings involve these drugs being prescribed, then at least a significant proportion of these cases were either caused by the drugs or the drugs made a significant contribution to the problem, he said. President Obama, in a series of 23 presidential memoranda and proclamations signed last week, called for the Centers for Disease Control to undertake research to examine gun violence and to explore medical means to control the problem. WND contended that putting more mental illness screening into schools would actually increase the incidence of school shootings, not reduce the violence. You don't have to be a doctor to know this either, you guys. You can draw a line between the number of child psychiatrists in the United States and the number of school shootings, and you will find that both have gone up in the same direction at the same time, he said. He says he sees a propaganda campaign being conducted in the U.S. in the wake of the Aurora, Colorado cinema shooting and the Newtown, Connecticut school shooting, asserting gun violence is being caused by mental illness and could be stopped by additional school programs that screen for it. If school children are screened for mental illness problems, this presumably will lead more medical doctors to put more students on more pills, he said. I would predict then the outcome of more school screenings for mental illness will be more mass killings. even if the guns are taken away and the mass killings are not done with guns. I mean, my nephew was doing his homework, and we're just joking around, and he's like, "Look, I can pretend my pencil's a gun," and he starts shooting it, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, if he does that at school, he's gonna get in trouble, because I have read a lot of articles of kids that do the little, they point their fingers and pretend their fingers are guns, or they'll make little paper guns, and they will get in trouble by the teacher. The teacher will send them to go get mentally screened for that. I mean, I've even heard that, excuse me, I even heard about a young girl who, or it was a young boy, I don't remember, who, they had to do a project during school, and the child drew a picture of their dad, because I guess it was like a career day type of thing, like, what does your dad do? So he drew his dad in military uniform with an M16 in his hand, shooting someone dead, but being a bad guy, shooting a bad guy dead. And the teacher saw it, and she was like, and she felt like she had to call the police, get the child in custody, set up law enforcement to go wait at the house for the dad to come home, and then arrest the dad and put him in jail. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, I don't even know how you can even charge anyone with any type of criminal offense with that. I mean, it's a total demonization of people who own guns. If your dad owns a gun, your school administrators who are liberal academics and don't believe in God, they're going to tell your kids, I remember the psychotic principles. I remember the demons that teach at these elementary schools, man. If your kid, is bragging about their dad being a military officer, a war hero, then they're gonna screen you. They're gonna look at you like you're mentally ill because your dad is. It's just bizarre, you guys. I don't even get the mentality they have behind wanting to snitch on someone who. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I'm not at that level of being brainwashed where I even understand the motives of these people. If school children are screened for mental illness problems, this presumably will lead more medical doctors to put more students on pills. That's what the point is. You see, you kids out there, your kids that go to public schools, if they snitch you out because they're naive, or they tell somebody, my dad's a war hero, the public schools are going to use that against you. They're going to use that against your children. They're going to tell your children they need medication, and that you need to be put in Guantanamo Bay because you own a gun. It's just we're getting attacked from all sides from these wacko jobs, man. He cautioned shareholders of pharmaceutical companies to realize share prices can be adversely affected should judges and juries determine the companies bear legal liabilities. Law enforcement investigators can conclude one of the company's medications were prescribed to a child who ended up perpetrating a school shooting. Healy cautioned that medical doctors who prescribe pills do not necessarily cure mental illness problems. He argued that today medical doctors are inclined to solve a wide range of health problems by prescribing drugs. In previous generations, however, extended families were capable of providing a context of family history to understand behavioral problems and to identify a wide range of problem-solving treatments. The families understood the issue as a developmental problem better treated by family intervention than by medicine. Market research, for instance, has made pharmaceutical companies realize it is much harder to sell drugs for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder (ADHD) in a home or a community where the child's grandmother is likely to be present. He explained, because of course the grandmother may say, that kid doesn't need pills. His father was just like him. And look, his father turned out all right. Medicine intervenes with pills when communities have lost their roots and families. Wow, that's very interesting. Healy also expressed distress that information available to pharmaceutical companies exposing adverse side effects of SSRI medications is not made available to the public. To solve this problem, Healy has created a website, rxisk.org, that allows the posting of personal experience with SSRI drugs by people who have had personal experience or have had partners, parents, children, or friends injured by them. These are people, the website says, who have found themselves trapped in a Kafkaesque world when they have sought help from doctors, regulators, or others who seem to be there to help us. The goal of rxisk.org is to create a database open to the public that provides a report a patient can take to a doctor or pharmacist to support and inform a conversation about the adverse sides of particular SSRI drug. I mean, the nurses and the doctors aren't even good actors. I mean, I had to go visit somebody in the hospital in a TCU, and it was an intensive care cubicle, or whatever you want to call it. Not the right word, but it's an intensive care unit, a facility, and all the doors are locked. I had to go visit somebody that had a medical emergency, and me being a professional in this area, I had to go and I wanted to take a look at her, what she was doing. I looked at her computer, and I looked at, I was just looking at my friend, and the nurse is like, "Excuse me, you're not allowed to look at that." And I'm just like, "Excuse me, what do you have to hide?" You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, there's patient, there's patient, doctor, there is, you have to, it's personal. Personal information between you and the doctor is between you and the doctor. That's an absolute law. That's that's something that they have to honor. But when my friend, who I'm not going to name, tells the nurse, like that, he is my friend, and he knows what he's doing, so don't mind him. Then, she's starting to get like really, it's just like, what, you weirdo control freak, I don't care, you know what I mean? I'm not here to make you look bad. I know that you probably suck at your job because you're so, I don't know what it is with some of these nurses. You go to these hospitals in my opinion are the creepiest places on earth, because you're around a bunch of sick people who are dying, who are getting soft killed by big pharma, and you got a bunch of nurses walking around being absolutely wicked to everybody. They make it obvious, and they display how stressful and tired they are. And they project it on you like it's your fault, like, oh, I don't care and I shouldn't care. All I do is take care of people all day, so I get to treat you like you're an absolute animal, you're not even a human. I get to curse and make fun of you in front of everybody, and then you have to put up with it. And it's an absolutely evil place, man. I've been to places where they take care of disabled or old, pretty much facilities They're places where, where people who don't have family, they go, and, these homes, these rest homes, I can't remember the name for it right now, rehabilitation homes or whatever you want to call them. The nurses that work at some of these places are not even human, the way that they treat some of these people. If sometimes I imagine the patient being my family, and it just makes me want to get angry at somebody, because it's like, how can you talk to this person like that? I've had somebody want me to just roll them out into outside of the building just to get some fresh air. He's wheelchair ridden. He cannot get up, so he needs some help. He's talking to me in Spanish. He's a really nice guy. He seems really nice, and he's really sick, and you just want to be nice to the guy. And I roll him outside, and the nurse comes up acting like a total bee, and she takes the guy away, and she starts talking to him like, yeah, shut up, and she puts him in a corner. And he's like, "You can't do this to me." And then they're like, "Yeah, well, shut up, okay? We're soft killing you, and that's what's going to happen, okay? So shut up. You don't have family? Oh, well. You got nobody to take care of you? You think that anyone in the world's going to take care of you? In this every man for himself